How do you like my taping button?
You're gonna have to tape, huh?
Well, no,
You have no idea how I hear that, but.
Good morning, Mr. Wolf.
Good morning.
you hear what?
Sorry to hear.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
You bet.
Adjustments and adjustments, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, good morning.
Morning.
We're, going old school electric here? Yeah.
Electric's new,
Well,
we don't have a fireplace.
Which older fellow needs more heat? I can slide this down.
I'm fine. You
I've
can
got-
slide it down.
I've got a farmer code along, so I'm doing good.
I told him, I think we're all gonna be fine, we just gotta
It's actually warmed up.
keep Shanna warm.
Well, it was pretty chilly when you got here.
My fingers were frozen, I didn't know my pens were gonna write.
Just needs to be about 34, right, for heavy work.
Yeah, it was, that was exaggeration, but.
If they're marked, you gotta put it in here, close to your heart.
Oh,
Yeah,
there
I
you go.
always do that, then I leave the deal down and stain my shirts.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can leave it up and it still leaks out, stains your
Oh.
shirts.
I can't tell you how many shirts I've seen my dad ruin by having a pen in his pocket.
Try not to. So what did your dad do, Travis?
He was a farm and rancher for 48 years, and then, at that point, then he left the farm and got a job for the American Angus Association.
He always had pins in his pocket, just in
Yeah.
case you needed one, right?
Well, sales and all that stuff,
Yeah.
and then, he did that for 10 years, and he's been on his own for like the last 6, does the sales and service type stuff, so he's always been in cattle.
Mhm.
So, if, you don't know what to talk about when you see my dad, just ask how the cows are doing.
How's Angus doing today?
How the Angus doing, baby?
Yeah.
Well, yesterday said it wasn't so good, but I think this next one's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, those old ranchers, my dad raised registered Herefords and all his life, so.
That's the conversation piece.
That's the conversation goes.
I know a lot of stuff.
Well, the first time I met Leroy Becker was a couple of years ago, and
You
he's
can
known
give
my
me a
dad
phone
for
number.
over 40 years.
Wow.
And, he goes,
I can just call
I didn't
this
know,
number, can I?
no, Vern had more than one kid. I said, yeah, there's 4 of us. I take it you guys didn't talk about.
So I'm gonna
family."
request a table on. Okay, 9 o'clock. I'll call the regular Mercer County Commission monthly meeting to order, February 2nd, 2022. Shanna has the roll. We have the agenda in front of us. Any additions to the agenda? And if not, I'd like a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll move to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Travis?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Wayne?
Aye.
Jean, aye. Motion passed. Okay, I turn the meeting over to Shanna, reorganization of the board.
All right, at this time, I'm gonna call for nominations for chairman.
I nominate Travis Fry as chairman.
Are there any other nominations for chairman?
I'll now nominate Gene Wolf as chairman.
Are there any other nominations for chairman? Are there any other nominations for chairman? Are there any other nominations for chairman? All right, those in favor for Travis Fry, Marvin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Wayne?
I'll vote aye.
Travis?
Aye.
Jean?
Well, I'll vote nay.
Did I do this right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, Wayne, how do you vote for Jean for chairman?
I'll vote aye.
Travis?
I'll vote nay.
Marvin?
Nay.
Jean?
Aye.
It's a tie,
How can it be a tie?
so we're missing.
Well, you had, for me, you had 3 for me, and Wayne went on the fence
Yeah.
and voted for both of us.
Yeah,
That's how that works?
Yeah.
There were 3 for Travis and 2 for Jean.
yeah,
And the way you did
So
it,
it's
yep.
not a
Okay.
tie.
yeah.
Well, I was just thinking it was a tie on my roll call. Second. Okay, so then I'm going to declare Travis as chairman. Now I'm going to
Thank you.
call nominations for vice.
I'll nominate Jean for vice chair.
Are there any other nominations for vice? Any other nominations for vice?
I move that we, how is it?
Cease nomination.
Cease nomination and unanimously Jean as the vice chair, something like that.
We got it.
We got it. I'll second that.
How do you vote, Wayne?
What I,
Travis?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Jean?
Aye.
All right, Jean is declared vice chairman, and I'll turn the meeting over to Chairman.
congratulations, gentlemen. I know you'll do it.
Congratulations, Travis.
Thank
Yep,
you.
I know you'll do a nice job.
I'd like to make a comment to the board, if I may, please.
Sure.
The reason I nominated Travis is, I believe Gene did an excellent job, and he continued to do an excellent job, and I really appreciate all the work and time that he did. It had nothing to do with that at all. I was just advised once that quite often it's a good idea to rotate the chairmanship so other members can have that experience and offer their way of doing business, so it was just for that reason. But thank you, Gene.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Excellent,
Thanks, Jean.
Thanks.
excellent. You did
You're welcome.
Excellent job.
Hey, Travis,
Okay. Well, with that, we have, next on the agenda is approval of January 18th meeting minutes.
Oh, minutes, there we go.
I move to approve the minutes as presented.
Motion by Jean to approve the minutes as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Second by Wayne. Any discussion, corrections, or additions to the minutes? Seeing now, we'll proceed to vote. Jean?
Aye.
Wayne?
Aye.
Marv?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. That motion is approved. We have review and approve bills. I was wondering if we should talk about the mileage reimbursement rate first before we do the bills, because I'm assuming,
Yeah, that, and would it be possible to talk about the Historical Society request too, since we're talking about bills?
okay,
Okay.
You should have all gotten that
Memo,
in
yeah,
your packet, the request from Renee,
right.
and then, yeah, however you want to do it.
okay. I just figured with, since we're in February, we probably have some January mileage
We did
The-
change them
to the new,
to the new mileage on the.
Okay.
Of course, it goes from 56 cents to 58.5 cents. Our system doesn't do half cents, so normally in that case, we round up to 59. So I just need a motion from the board to that effect.
is there a motion to increase our mileage rate to coincide with the IRS at 59 cents per mile?
I so move.
Motion by Marv, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jean. Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. Marv?
Aye.
Jean?
Aye.
Wayne?
What I,
I'll vote aye. That motion passes. Historical Society request.
I did reach out to Renee and asked her, this happened last year, and we did approve her request for 2,500. But I did ask her if during budget time, when they send their budget in, if she would then request per allocation, so we can
Did it,
have it in the budget.
did it in the budget, yeah.
Because otherwise, they just get their mill levy, which is 0.25. They get a quarter of a mill.
So this is on top of the mill?
Yep,
Okay. This would just come out of our general fund?
yep, it comes out of miscellaneous fund.
And just for a matter of record, this was discussed when Jessica was our state's attorney, that we can make this donation because it has to do with health improvement or aged or handicapped.
Well, yeah,
So we are within the confines of making a donation, so. I move that we approve the request of $2,500 of the Mercer County Historical Society to be used toward their handicap accessible restrooms.
Okay, motion by Marv for the $2,500 request from Historical Society. Is there a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Second by Wayne. Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. Marv?
Aye.
Wayne?
What about I?
Jean?
Aye.
I'll vote aye. That motion passes. Okay, let's move on to the review and approval bills.
Wonder who's got them? Ooh, boy.
we reorganized the board. Travis is the chairman and Jean is the vice chairman.
And you have who made nomination?
Yep, I'll get that for you.
I'll get my books out of the way here, so. Shuffle all this stuff. No, you don't have to. Oh, I like to write this down.
Jean, we might have to rotate next meeting.
I'm fine with that. I like how it was convenient.
For approving the bills.
Yeah.
Personally, Travis, I would prefer you stay there because it looks way better when other people come in and
We're in the middle?
you're in. You know, it's more pronounced and it's also better on the video.
We're in the middle.
So you get to do what you want, but I thought I'd offer that.
I could sign them after, I don't.
You know, I miss Liza, because she can read these pretty fast.
Yeah.
So it was nice to have her as a buffer before it got to me.
Not only does she read them fast, but she catches a lot of stuff.
Catches a lot of stuff.
She caught that paper in the wrong grouping last time, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm sure it would have been right past me. She does a good job of that.
Kinda what happened with Lad's mileage here, they were 59, we dropped her down to 56.
Because it was still last year,
Okay, oh, well,
right?
it says the first to 24th. I'll show you.
Did he come over here?
So, she said that $2,500.
Yeah,
comes
because
over
his
this
dates
year,
were
so,
November
yeah.
24th and December 28th, or December 8th.
Got it.
Yep.
The building was made that day.
Yep.
Yeah. Are you guys chilly? I can turn this heater for you.
There's no
I'm
heat
fine.
in here, so if you bundle up, we're not offended.
When you turn that, I might take a nap.
That's a good thing it's balmy outside.
Right.
Yeah.
I was on a conference call yesterday and it had to do with permitting and things like that. And I said, well, this time of year, we're kind of slow on permitting. I said, it was like 4 degrees today. And Heidi goes, well, actually, my computer says 6. I'm like, oh, heat wave. And the people on the call, I think they were from like Oklahoma or something like that. And they're like, geez, that's cold. And I said, they go, well, we got some clients in Wisconsin and stuff. I said, oh, our southern neighbors.
I can't read some writing on this. It says antique lanterns, what's that say?
There's
Cancel.
no fair.
But we
Quit
still have
typing
a-
this.
Negative.
Golly, makes us all
Oh,
look
because it's a credit.
like
It was
hillbillies.
charged and then it was credited back on
Okay,
there.
I just didn't wanna make sure we didn't sign something that,
This is how you want it. I want it written kind of like this,
Right.
except they
Sure, now
can't
you don't
write
need to ask
either,
that
they
one.
print. Do you do that? Print instead of write sometimes? Wow. Yeah, Julie printed all the time, but she had a really wonderful writing. Well, just for the board's information, what we got is we got a blower motor that's out upstairs. It's the induced motor that induces the draft.
Okay.
So we aren't sure if we can get anything like that anymore or not, but that's what, it worked yesterday, he said.
So you're saying this propane might last us a little bit?
Yeah.
is this the only room that that particular fan supplies?
Or that furnace? Possibly.
Because everybody, earlier today, it said that this was the only room affected, so that's why I asked that
Okay.
question. I don't know that, I just.
Yeah.
That's why you got those doors
Montana
dropped.
marijuana sales total
Pardon me?
22.6
That's why you got
million
those
in
doors
January.
dropped in them?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I guess.
1 month?
1 month,
And that's in the state of Montana, you said?
yeah. Brought in 2.9 million in tax revenue.
Boy, be careful when you drive through Montana, I guess.
Everybody will
Just
be
take it
stoned.
easy, Wayne, just take it easy.
Put the call catcher on front,
Remind me, after the meeting.
oil
when
pipe
it's not
on the
a quorum,
side.
Ask you a question about this injecting CO2 out.
Okay.
That's why all those Montana pickups got a little bit, look like we're checking cows quite a bit.
And there's always steam coming up.
Yeah, steam out of the ring. Big bull horns up front, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. And please don't call me.
Right. Well, Peyton Manning, when he was playing for the Denver Broncos, they asked him a question after Colorado had passed that law. And he said, well, I don't think it's really up to me to speak on that, but however, my Papa John's franchises have been doing quite well lately. It's been good for business.
Good for business.
That's called an indirect.
Right.
Houston Engineering.
Neither support nor oppose.
Sure.
Does Houston Engineering bill us every 2 weeks?
I think just when you do work on something.
Okay. Because it just says 1 through 15, I was just curious, because I don't recall receiving that twice a month.
It's pretty much whenever he's working on the landfill stuff.
This worked.
So when it comes to the Association of Counties, drug and alcohol annual fee, do we pay anything per test as well? Okay.
$63.
I suppose that's because they get connections performing weddings, right?
Mhm.
There's a program from the Association of Counties. Shannon, can you, curiosity thing, we have a bill here from the Association of Counties for Marriage License Program. I know we can perform weddings or marriages legally and stuff, but how does the Association of Counties have a program that we need to use?
This is for the recordation of marriage
It's
license?
for, so we collect the money for marriage licenses, and then a portion of it goes to the state, and a portion goes to them. and we keep a
Blending
portion.
worked as
It's
good
like
as my blending.
two different,
Yeah, but it says Association of Counties.
yep, that's who we pay for it.
And,
Okay.
And apparently we issued 34 of them last year, so then
Pretty
we
much
go with them $1 per marriage
I was very
license.
happy. I still haven't got my number one yet.
It's one of
They
those,
kind of have their hands tied in a lot of things, just like our drug testing program, and they,
it's one of
they
those that
facilitate all of this stuff for us.
a really good answer is because. I usually don't like that one, but that's true this time.
Yeah, it's just, that's just the way they.
Yeah, there's a lot of times,
Hmm?
why do these government boards do what they do?
Yeah.
Well,
Because-
because law says we have to do it that way. We don't necessarily agree, but.
You got the fingers in there? So did you get home for Christmas and stuff?
No, I did.
Good.
Well, this is rather a short review session.
I ended up being sick.
This is second one. We took care of the big one last month.
Travis, do you
Yep.
want a signature stamp?
Yeah, I probably would.
Okay.
I'll get you,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Stop in my
there's,
office after
there's a
the
lot of
meeting,
that
just
up
so you
there
can send it
around too.
okay.
over to BHG.
Yes,
Doing pretty good now.
way better, yeah. Getting stronger.
I'll add it to my other list of, or my other stash of stamps.
It was a long, yeah, it was a long
You have
list.
yours, right?
Looking at the. Yep. Guy was busy and stuff, but the worst was looking at the hospital walls and wondering. Should I use it? Colder than the dick.
Now you can stamp your own checks when you go to.
They finally got
Oregon.
tired of them, so.
Nice.
They got a very good cook, I'm telling you.
So when my grandpa used to go to the grocery store, he'd always sign his name and then have the cashier.
Boy, it was good.
That's pretty,
That was the part that really kind of wanted to stay, you know?
I worked at Dairy Queen, we did that a lot for the elderly generation, they'd sign it. and-
And, I mean, I don't
I
know,
worked at
almost like they
Menards
had
in
Bush
college.
soup that one day he swore mom
At
made it,
least
you
with
know?
those, you could actually
Just
slide it in and.
big dinner blankets and
Yeah.
gravy, and then they had.
Did you work at Menards in Bismarck?
West Fargo. When I was at Indian
Meatloaf
Soup.
and, like you said, you swore mom made it because it just, yeah.
no,
I don't know about that last one here.
You just sliding it in?
Yeah, I'm just. He's got a program I see too.
Yeah, I think he's got the same program.
Darn it.
Well,
Buster is.
Buster is, I'm the alternate.
Okay, did Cindy talk to you? Rodney Weigand, like, he would have liked to have gone to that meeting, Jimmy, but he didn't know anything about it. And I told Cindy, since we are members, I would assume that anybody could. I don't know how that works.
Rodney Wyman was there.
Oh, he was there?
Yes.
I got an email on that one.
You need to say.
I still need to sign it.
I think I was notified, in fact, I do, the lady, can't think of her name,
Deb?
Deb, she sends out lots of emails.
Yes,
but-
she does.
But anyway, she
So do
notified
we
me.
just need to add somebody from the planning and zoning board? Well, you are,
Yeah, it was okay. It was happened right when I was sick.
okay.
I didn't open up that email. I did read it before the meeting.
So if
and I
you
s-
get any upcoming ones, can you just give a
Yep.
copy to your P and Z board?
Yep,
Okay.
then you can put that responsibility on me, shaky as I am.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the bills?
So moved.
Motion by Jean, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Marv, any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, Jean, how do you vote?
Aye.
Marv?
Aye.
Wayne?
Vote aye.
I'll vote aye. Bills are approved. We got a couple minutes here, social service board appointment?
That should have been done in December. Steve Reiser reminded me of that a couple weeks ago. And he said they would love to have Wayne continue to serve if Wayne is willing to do so.
I don't have no campaign speech, so I mean, if, I'll do that if you guys are willing to send me over there.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve Wayne as the social service board appointment?
Also move.
Second.
Motion by Marv, seconded by Jean. Any discussion?
Yeah, the reason I voted for him is because of his strong campaign speech.
Okay. Thank you. I'll appreciate that, Mark.
Sounds good. Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. Marv?
Aye.
Jean?
Aye.
Wayne?
Aye.
I'll vote aye. That motion passes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
We did that one already.
Okay. What do we wanna do next?
The extension review.
Extension review? Okay.
Craig had emailed and let me know that his extension performance review will be on March 21st at
Okay.
1:30 PM. And we always like to send a commissioner to be in attendance for that, so he just would like to know
Who wants to
who we're
go?
gonna send.
Okay.
I think Marvin's done it the past couple of years.
Okay.
Okay. As long as we're gonna be covering part of the portfolio update with this statement. Craig's here too. And Meta, did I say that right? Okay. I have been the portfolio holder with the extension agency for almost 3 years, I think.
Mm.
And I thoroughly enjoyed it and learned a lot, and I would continue with it. However, I think their board
Mhm.
would benefit if they had some new blood.
Mhm.
So we can, I'm willing to pass the baton, so to speak, and I've notified them that I'm willing to do that, and no, there's been no objection, so. As far as who do we send to the extension performance review, I can do that, or we can, at this point, is anybody interested in assuming that portfolio?
And you don't even have to be a portfolio holder, you can
Right.
just attend it.
But if we have a new one, it might be beneficial.
You know, Marv, I would be willing to move to the extension. I work with Craig, you know, off and on all year with Fair Board and other things like that with the 4-H, so, we have a pretty long history of working together anyway, so I don't see an issue with that.
So you're gonna, are you able to attend that?
Let me check my schedule here quick.
Do we need a motion to
No, I think-
put him on that board?
When we do
That's-
the reorganization, we'll do.
Okay.
Reorganize.
Yeah,
Thank you.
down here.
21st.
Thanks, Travis.
No problem. Yeah, I don't have any conflicts that day, so
Okay.
Thanks, bud.
You gonna add that to your calendar then?
I'll add that to my calendar.
You think you're gonna get a good man? Yeah, okay, as long as you're not up and down. Okay.
Boy, that was a that was a political statement.
Correct.
You want that quote in the paper too?
Yeah, Greg
They're
said,
all great.
Thank you for that endorsement.
good thing you didn't give much of a speech, but that's good, yeah.
Do we have any other quick things, or is it all right to move to the agency?
I think
I think we'll probably be fine.
Yeah, I think it should be.
Okay. All right, Craig, we'll start you a little early.
So, thank you for your time today. I just wanted to introduce our new Family and Consumer Wellness agent. Some of you may know her, some of you may not, but it's Meta Flieger from Hazen, I guess. So she's started on January 18th, and she'll be responsible for all the family and community wellness deal, along with 4-H responsibilities. So she's the replacement for Dina's position finally. After that long period of waiting, we have somebody in hand. So from left to right, that's Wayne Enzi.
Pleased to meet you.
Lives south, in the south western part of the county.
Down in the township country.
So, has some cattle and does some ranching still. And then Travis Fry, Mayor of Beulah, and works for Interstate Engineering. And Marvin Schwer retired from, was it
Dakota
one of the
Gas.
plant,
Yep.
DGC. And then Gene Wolf, I don't know Gene that well, but from Hazen area too, right? Gene?
I know Meta.
Yeah, okay. So, and then Shanna Brost is our county auditor, so that's the one we call on a day-to-day basis if we have any questions. And then we'll go over and introduce her stuff, and then this is Daniel Aarons. Yeah, she's with the Hazen Star, so.
Careful what you say around him.
He's the PR guy. He probably will be calling, so whenever we send our articles to the paper, they get transferred through the Beulah and Hazen to newspapers through them, so.
I wish to welcome you, Meta.
Thank
I was very glad, I'm glad to see you here. And I know right after we did the interview and the acceptance, you attended a conference, I believe, in Fargo?
Yes.
Yeah,
So, got your feet wet right away, huh?
Yeah, well, it was new staff orientation, so
Okay.
yes, but I did get my feet wet right away.
How's it feel?
Good, a little bit, they say when you start the extension, it's drinking from a fire hose, and that is a little bit true. So it's very broad, and there's so many things to learn, you know, and so I'll start my first weeks kind of learning about our county and visiting throughout the county, finding out what people's concerns are, and then after we kind of gather some data, making some decisions on what programs that we'll implement. I could dive in and just start doing everything that Dina did, but they discourage, you know, doing that, so. And thank you for agreeing to keep this position open. I think there is a need in our county for families and individuals.
Welcome,
Yeah.
glad to have you on board.
Thank you.
West River, judging?
yeah, I was gonna give you a little update. Just going off of what Meta said, if, you know, we have a person there now, so let's utilize her as much as we can. So if you guys have people talking to you about certain things, you know, transfer them our way to Meta or whatever the case may be. If it's anything to do with wellness or, you know, the youth part of it and things like that, all those different programs, there's a lot of different things we can do that you all are aware of, so. Yeah, coming up, one thing that Meta will be helping with us, that's not too far away, is the West River Judging Contest, February 26th. That is a 4-H and FFA contest for basically kids we get them all over the state, but there'll be about 400 kids here that day participating in 4 different contests: livestock judging, crops judging, egg sales, and then hippology, which is horse judging. So we're always looking for volunteers for judges and stuff like that. people that have helped us volunteer as judges said that it's been very worth their time, and they're very inspired by what these young people are doing and presentations that they give. And if you want to help with that, just let me know. If you want to just come and observe, you can surely are welcome to do that morning too. And those events are held at the fairgrounds and at the Beulah High School and Zion Lutheran Church. So
What's the times on that again?
we get going about 8:30 in the morning, and it kind of everything goes well. We're done about 2 o'clock. So, and the contest just run concurrent, you know. The crops contest will be running at the same time as the livestock contest, so you just kind of just go wherever you want to go. So, but there's I don't want to get into it, but there's a lot of things that the kids are asked to test their knowledge on, and the egg sales part of it is they actually have to act as a salesman and actually sell you something. So they'll have a product that they've researched, and they'll try to sell it to you and present it to you and tell you the goods and the bads and all that good stuff. And livestock is animal evaluation, so those kids have to evaluate a class of livestock, which is 4 in a class, and then they have to evaluate it, and then they have to go in front of a judge and give reasons and defend why they placed them the way they placed them and things like that. So it's a lot of hands-on life skills and talking to people that they've never seen before, and there's some kids that start this as early as age 8, so it's quite impressive of what they 8-year-old coming to talk to somebody they've never seen before is kind of intimidating, but they do pretty well. So anyway, that's that. And then not so far away, we got county fair. Dates are set 14th through 17th of July, I believe. Anyway, I'm pretty close on that off the
Sounds
top
right.
of my head. So fair board's been working hard on that. We got a meeting tonight, so a lot of things are, about 75% of the things are in place already, so that's moving forward. And then there'll be obviously a lot of other things that'll be happening also. I was here not too long ago talking about drought situation. Mercer County is still definitely in a drought situation. Unfortunately, we're better than we were last year at this time, but unfortunately, or fortunately, however you look at it, but in the agriculture sector, unfortunately, we just haven't had the snowfall compared to the eastern part of the state. So we are still quite dry, very dry. Water is still a concern. Had a call last week of an individual that lost 2 horses. They thought it was their hay. No, it was their water. So water quality issues are still a concern even here in February. So we have gonna have that issue probably happening this spring, and unfortunately, at least starting off when we start planting and stuff, we're gonna probably be behind the 8 ball also and still be on the dry side. So hopefully things will change, but as we sit here today, 2022 is still gonna be probably a challenging year, unfortunately, for the agriculture sector.
When you're done, I have a question, but
Yeah.
the deal with those horses, do they have a well? Was it underground spring
Yeah,
water?
it was,
or was
no,
it?
it was from my understanding, it was a well, yeah. They
Okay,
were drinking out of a well, yeah,
mine do too.
yeah. What's that?
I said mine do too,
Okay, yeah.
so I need to,
Yeah, it's so,
Somebody come get my water tested.
so this surface, groundwater and surface water is still an issue, yes.
wow, I didn't know.
Even in the wintertime. Those sulfates and nitrates just don't magically disappear even when it's 20 below outside, unfortunately.
I can
So-
bring my water sample to you and,
Yeah, we can do a quick test in the office, and if a test is, then obviously if it tests high in my office, then we'll send it on to a laboratory to get confirmation. So,
Okay.
yeah. So that's kind of what's happening, so thank you for your time, and we have an individual. We
Congratulations.
have a live body and capable body. So, thank you.
Congratulations, Matt.
Thanks for
All right.
coming in.
Yeah, thanks.
What date was that 4-H judging?
February 26th, it's a Saturday.
Yeah, February 26th.
Saturday.
Yep.
If you want any more information or whatever, just give me a call. And we can put you in a position to be a judge, or, hey, I need people to hand out coffee and cookies and all that good stuff too, if you wanna do that, so.
That's a better.
Whatever, you can always find something for you to do, so. Thank you much, guys.
You bet.
Yeah.
Thank you, Craig.
Coffee cookies sound good.
Cookies sound good?
Yeah, coffee time.
Okay, since we don't have, the road guys here yet, we wanna talk about tax and financial software?
That might take a little while. I was one who put that on there. If you guys don't mind, we can move down to number 6. That'll go very briefly.
Okay. Recording of revenues and expenditures?
Okay, I asked that to be put on there, and I just have a statement that I'll actually read it. I just want to make a statement. It says, "Our financial report should tell our taxpayers a story. They should demonstrate with full disclosure and with full transparency what is occurring with our taxpayers' dollars. Our record should reflect what is actually occurring. Our revenue expenses should be categorized and recorded accurately. Expenses should not be recorded under categories they do not belong. In my opinion, reporting our revenues and expenses incorrectly distorts what is really happening with our taxpayers' money. We do not have an accurate historical document of what is occurring with the taxpayers' money. And this concerns me because commissioners don't always stay here 10 years or 5 years from now. Without accurate reporting, we abandon full disclosure and transparency. We end up with fiction. And I suggest that we report our revenues and expenses in the categories they belong. I just want to make that statement. Thank you.
Okay. Clerk of court, funding agreement?
We got a, letter in the mail for every biennium, we sign the clerk of court funding agreement. The biennium is for 2023 to 2025. Mercer County essentially has 3 choices. We can, have our clerk of court's office be fully funded by the state, they would then be state employees. We can choose to take the reimbursement, which is what we do now, and that equivalates to, I can do this right here, $11,637 a month. Or we can just pay for the clerk of court's budget completely without any
May I see that,
reimbursement.
Gene?
Since I've been the county auditor, we have always, opted for option 2 in getting the reimbursement of them. So, basically the board just needs to elect which option of the 3 we wanna do by April 1st.
I'd like to table this. I
Okay.
wanna talk to, I wanna word this right. I wanna talk to the Office of State, I wanna talk to the Office of State Administrator I got a couple questions I wanna ask on our choices. I don't wanna get into detail right now.
Are you making a motion to
So if we would just,
You want to table to the
well,
next meeting, or do you
I wanna postpone it
postpone it?
until, the March meeting. I will, yeah, because I won't be here at the February 16th meeting, so I can't give you any report.
March 2nd.
So
Yeah.
March 2nd meeting. I'd like to postpone it
Get
to
it
March.
on there.
Yeah, the one that was for you guys was printed incorrectly. We're waiting for the correct one to come.
And hopefully by then I do my due diligence and get, the information on our choices.
Okay, so Jean made a motion to postpone, moving forward with the clerk of court funding agreement until the March 2nd meeting. And I don't think we need a time for that. We'll just put it on the
Yeah.
other business.
I'll second that.
Okay, seconded by Marv. Jean, how do you vote?
Can we have to, a little, I
Well,
just
usually when
want
you table something, you don't have discussion. So
sorry, Okay,
You kinda gave your spiel on it, but Gene, how do you?
well, we have to have it in by April 1st.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I vote yes.
Marv,
Aye.
Wayne? Aye. I'll vote aye, that motion passes.
Sorry about that.
Let's see.
April 1st.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's do the reorganization of the portfolios. So Marv talked about having someone else do the extension agency.
Extension, yep.
I'm willing to take that on, unless anybody else wants that.
I'm not gonna arm wrestle you for it.
Do you want to,
Do we need motions on these?
no,
Just changes.
do you want to give something up on yours then?
I kinda wanna keep water resource, the fair board, and the library. And then the other three I have, I'm indifferent on as far as whether to keep them or have someone else do it. So there's the treasurer, the recorder, or the Lewis and Clark Regional Development Center.
With what you just said, now, if you feel that you have a lot and you really do want to reduce it, I would be willing to take the treasurer's, but that's only if you want to reduce some of the load on yourself. That's up to you.
I'd appreciate it if you took the treasurer, that'd be fine with me. Does anybody else have any changes or requests for their portfolios?
I don't have any.
You want it here, Gene?
Yeah, you got the,
Wayne's got
Another
the
one.
heaviest load.
Oh, that's right, I got little shoulders. It's working.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
working.
okay with my heavy load.
I noticed that one, yeah. But you're doing a good job with it, too.
yeah. And I don't think Liza had any issues with hers.
I don't think so either, no. And if there's nothing that says that we can't, if she does have an issue, we
Yeah.
can't revisit this when she's here.
Right.
Right.
Okay. There's no other
So,
changes or
So
requests?
basically, you guys just switched treasurer and extension, and that was it.
correct.
Yes.
I'll reprint this and get it
Although,
out to you.
although I do have maybe a comment. You know, me and Marv are on planning and zoning, and that's great. But planning and zoning does take a little time for new people to get introduced and familiar with. So, just a thought method. Because down the road, him and I won't be here, so somebody new will be taking that, so, yeah. It's just a kind of something to think about, because
It
it
might
takes,
change your heavy load.
it takes a while to, you know, it takes a while for planning and zoning. It's a learning deal
Yeah.
all the time, so,
So are you thinking that we should try to switch it now, or do you think we should wait?
we can wait, I
See how it
mean, but it's just the thought process of, you know, that,
I think it would be good if you two stayed on it to get through this solar and wind stuff,
I think it would be,
Right.
since you've already invested so much time
Yeah.
into those.
yeah, yeah.
What was the solar wind about? I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
You probably have a whole filing cabinet.
Marv, we're on the committee, you got a whole wheelbarrow full.
Thank you.
Is not supposed to see the light of day, or? Okay, yeah, and I agree with Wayne on that planning and zoning thing. That is definitely a time commitment and a learning curve. I personally would kind of shy away from me being on the planning and zoning board because of my profession. I may have to present numerous times through the course of the year, depending on what's going on in the county, so I kind of want to stay impartial on the P and Z side, and then do what I can on this side, so. But if there's no other discussion on portfolios, we'll make the change between Marv and I, and then we can always revisit.
Yep, if Liza decides that she wants to switch something up too, we can just bring it up at the next meeting.
Okay.
But I will update that sheet for you guys and email it out.
Okay.
Snail mail it for Wayne.
Thank you.
Yep,
Okay, we got another 15 minutes or so, so let's do,
do you have portfolio updates?
yeah, I was gonna say portfolio updates. Wayne, you wanna
Oh,
start?
well, I didn't get to 10, but I know the weed board met here, just the other night, and they said, I think you need to stay home, so that was all right. And that was a good decision. And, I think I just got a text, we changed our airport meeting, I think it's to the 8th. I aren't supposed to drive and look at it, but I just put it away. So, this week, I believe we have an airport meeting, and I guess, I think that's all I have for right now, Travis.
Okay. Updates on my portfolios, as Craig mentioned earlier, Fair Board meets tonight. Also, like he said, they have about 75% of their entertainment booked. I think I mentioned it at the last meeting, they might move the ranch rodeo to a different day versus the Sunday they've had it. So they might make some time slot changes that we're not normally accustomed to. But as of this stage of the year, I think they're well ahead of the curve and ready for the fair. I think last year went pretty well, and we'll hope to expand and keep that running well.
I have a question about the fair.
Mhm.
How do you get a booth set up at the fair? There was a lady that had called, I can't remember what company she's from, but she has to make her visits in Mercer County, and she had asked me yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know who the committee person is for that, but there is a contact person on the fair board that takes care of all the commercial booth spaces. And they do have an application on their website.
So the Mercer County Fair Board has a website?
Yeah, mercercountyfair.com.
Okay, I'll just direct her there, thank you.
Yeah, there's a tab there for commercial, and then underneath there's a form to submit. We haven't had a library board meeting for a month or two. We should have one here this month. So I'll update the next time we have one of those. And, Water Resource Board met in January. Excuse me, they reorganized. And when I mean they reorganized, they put everybody in the same positions that they had previously. So Casey's still the chair, and is it Bruce the vice chair?
Oh.
I think Bruce is. And then, the people we reappointed were already on there, so, they resumed their positions.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot going on for them right now. There is a Missouri River coordinator position that the state is going to do. And the Water Resource Board has committed, was it 5,000, Dan? Does that sound right? Each year, yeah. Yeah, I think it was 5,000.
Yeah,
What's
they
that?
haven't had anything.
I wanna say,
Higher number, I just don't remember what
okay.
the higher number is.
Either way, we matched, I think, what Morton County did,
Two of them.
and McLean County,
Eight.
not McLean, higher than
Western
McLean.
Dakota Energy.
So we matched Morton and Burley,
Contact them.
but, yeah, pretty much every county that, abuts the Missouri River is contributing to that coordinator, so. And I think that's all the updates I have, so, Marv?
Mine won't be quite as long as yours. I didn't have any meetings the last 2 weeks. Thank you.
Okay. Gene?
Short and sweet. I didn't have time to talk to the sheriff's department or the state's attorney. State's attorney, they're all out. I had a conversation with our clerk of court this morning, and that'll tie in with this contract with the state. MECAD's not meeting until February 10th. And the other two I haven't heard from, so I'm done.
Okay. And then I just thought of something when you said McEd, but it actually, Vision West, cause we talked about that earlier, their next meeting is gonna be in Beulah, and it's March, I don't know the date offhand, but I think it's like the third week of March. I'll bring that next,
Wednesday.
yeah. I don't know if I got that in my calendar or not. But, yeah, Vision West, they had their annual meeting in Hazen at the clinic, and then their next meeting's in Beulah, so pretty good representation for Mercer County to get those two,
To get them over here.
yeah. I don't see it on my calendar here. I'll have to check my emails when I get back, but I can notify everybody at the next meeting. So that finishes the portfolio updates. We got a few more minutes. I don't see Ken or Charlie here yet. Do we wanna take a 7-minute recess? Come back at 10?
Sure,
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
it's okay with me.
Otherwise, we're just standing up here.
Should have focused on it. That feels good just to stand up.
Okay.
Stretch a little bit. I see you smiling, wait till you're my age.
I don't know that for sure, but I know that I was.
Yes, I did, thank you. I got emailed you back, and I
Oh,
received it.
I've been on the.
Okay.
They bring it up from my
Stand up.
Pretty sure, yeah. Wasn't too bad, but
still.
still.
Double trouble. How you doing, Lee? Golly, I don't think we've seen you for a long, long while. Yeah. So we have to stop on by.
It's been a whole year, right?
Yeah. Yeah, right. 3 days or whatever.
Yeah, 2 days.
2 days.
2 days for you guys, it's been a year for me.
Yeah.
So December meeting, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you too for a second.
Yeah.
Hey, Karen.
Might as well put my stuff up here. You gotta do
new chairman, Travis.
Hey, really? So you don't get them duties anymore, huh?
Pardon?
Now you don't have that duty, huh?
No.
That's all right. Did you guys do, portfolios yet?
Yeah. We didn't, the only thing we changed was Marv and I changed treasurer and extension agency.
Okay. All the else, the rest is all the same as?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just gonna see where the.
Bill, sorry, you put them over there?
Appreciate that. So I might as well start signing.
There you go.
Told me there's this question about energy. I don't get anything. She says she always gets stuff.
Oh, that's too darn efficient there, Travis.
Utilizing time. I was once told there's no such thing as being too efficient.
That's a fact.
I could bring my stamp. Still have it somewhere. I ran across there the other day. I don't know.
Still got ink on it?
No, I don't, but we got a little bottle of that too.
Okay, 10 o'clock, we'll reconvene the commission meeting, and we have roads up right now. Ken?
First deal is the MC 800, that's that, cut back asphalt, that we use for crack sealing. It's a purchase agreement for, CHS. The price for 25 ton this year, they quoted us at $26,094.25. Big jump from last year.
Big
Last
jump,
year
what was
was-
it last year?
Last year was, well, if you figure it out, 2021 was $794.02 per ton, and this year it's $1,043.
Okay. 25 ton, how much do you use in a year?
Pretty close.
Or how long does?
Yeah, about that. It depends. I mean, we split our roads in half. I mean, we do half one year, and then the next we do the other half, and we flip-flop. And then we sell some to the city of Hazen too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So this
But-
is an annual
right. Yep.
expense.
Yeah, we have budgeted 28,000, so a little bit. So it's $26,094.25 for 25 ton.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we make a motion to buy our cutback MC 800 for, I don't know if I got the number,
$94.25.
$26,094.25.
Okay. Motion by Wayne to purchase the MC 800 through CHS for the $26,094.25. Is there a second?
I'll second that, sir.
Seconded by Marv. Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. Wayne?
I'll vote aye.
Marv?
Aye.
Jean?
Aye.
I'll vote aye. That motion passes.
And, right, Ken, you have enough room in the tank, so we don't.
Well, that's why we can only get 25, you know, and the next you have to either get 25 or 32 ton. We don't have room for 32.
No, so it don't, yeah, you know what happens otherwise.
Yeah.
You want some talk? No oil?
Well, I don't know, maybe.
How's the fog going?
Yeah, it must be going okay, I guess I made it to the meeting. Might be a little late, I guess, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's going,
Let's go.
it's going. Slowly getting better, I'd say.
That load pass is online now. It started yesterday for obtaining permits.
So can you check how many hits you get then, or?
Oh, it's similar to the other one. Yep, I mean, we still have to approve it, either Elroy or myself, so.
Did you read that article I sent you yesterday on that?
Yeah, I had seen that before. That was when we had that wet fall that time. I remember that.
Yeah, so just, so everything's kosher there now, everything is gonna pop up the way it's supposed to, so that you don't get stuck fixing roads?
Right, but I think what happened there is, I don't, when I read it a little bit closer, it said that they weren't responsible. They didn't even go to them to ask for questions on that.
The trucking company didn't end up having to pay.
Right.
The county had to pay like
But the county,
37,000.
the county didn't go in and ask Load Pass to actually look to make sure that they had that posted like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so it
There was
wasn't
some-
Load Pass's fault. It
There was
was,
some article that had come out yesterday about how, this trucking company had checked the website, they only checked the certain township roads, they didn't
Mhm.
layer the map they were supposed to, and the Supreme Court had ruled that they weren't, in the wrong, so then the county ended up forking over like $30-some thousand in fees and maintenance costs and,
But-
That was in like Divide County, wasn't it?
yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
But when, like I say, the county didn't actually have Load Pass give them that information, you know.
So we're good, like our
Yes.
information and everything
Yep.
on their website is good to
Right.
go?
Yep.
Okay. That would be awful to get
Right.
stolen.
Right.
Mhm.
And then I was just asked, I probably should know this answer, but an individual who trucks and he does not use the internet, he said, how do I get a permit? And he
Well,
doesn't
you-
have a way to access Load Pass, he said.
We're still gonna do those egg permits like we did at the shop for the
You-
annual
you
egg.
still hand-
Yeah,
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 they can-
yeah, and if they have to do it they can call the shop for a handle
call-
or a,
Right,
yep,
call the
Okay.
shop and
Yeah.
you should be able to.
And you guys can run it through the load pass too if.
right, if
somebody
they call the
needs assist-
shop, yep, they
Yeah.
can do that too, Rachel can,
Okay.
I mean, if it's during business hours.
There, now I got an official answer.
So he has
That's
to get
what,
his permit during business hours.
Yeah, not at 1 in the morning, but
Monday through Friday.
well, and that's what I pointed out, this was so that if a company wanted to, they don't have to contact our road department during business hours, they can do this on
Yep,
Saturdays,
20
Sundays, midnight, whatever.
24/7.
And he said, well, that's all nice and fine, but what about me that I don't use the internet? How do I get a permit? You answered that. Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Next is road policy declaration. Do you have a copy of that, Shannon?
Yep, I got two, but Liza's not here, so how do you wanna do that? Wait for her to come back?
Yeah, we could, I
Or
mean,
we'll approve it, but.
right, it's just that annual.
What is it? Explain this. It's on
It's
the
just that
agenda.
annual with what we have on there, what is there, like 5, 6 things, Shanna?
This is what we signed, you guys signed every year.
We do it every year. The only time we ever modified it was a couple, 2, 3 years ago, something Dwight had pointed out, so I can't
Yeah.
remember what it was
Oh, I
on.
recall this.
Yeah, I don't remember, but that's the only time it's ever really
Yeah, it's
changed.
been a while since we made it,
Oh, okay.
so we just need them.
Yeah, yeah, and then she could just sign it whenever.
okay, is there a motion to adopt the road policy?
I also move that we adopt our road policy declaration as presented.
Okay, motion by Marv, is there a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Second by Wayne, any discussion? Any discussion? Saying none, we'll proceed to vote. Marv?
Aye.
Wayne?
I'll vote aye.
Gene?
Aye.
I'll vote aye, that motion
You
passes.
guys wanna sign both of those copies? please?
Oh.
Or do you need a draft? They have them in the first.
I'm okay,
Okay.
but thank
So
you.
there's a medical kit down there.
My throat just got dry, that's all.
That happens all the time.
No, that's, I mean, I have an extra copy.
We'll
too.
sign and then you'll sign it and get it back.
I just
Give me a
noticed,
copy.
and maybe I messed this up, I have Gene listed, is that still, or
Oh,
is that,
no,
cause I can update that and change it.
Travis is, so actually, if you just update it, he can just
Okay.
sign it and then you can sign it when you get back to the office. You guys can just take care of it there and then just have
Yes.
Jenny email me a copy of them.
Yes, that would work, sure. So I have yeah, I guess today I submitted and I apologize for getting them in so late, yesterday, I think it was, right? Actually, yesterday I sent them to Shanna, the task orders, which are basically the fancy word for contracts now that we're using, now that we executed that MSA through GCDC with the county. And the first one's for that 4 mile overlay project, the design and construction, contract for that. But if you recall, we're going to move forward with the design process on that project, bid it, see if it fits our budget, and then either shelve it or move forward with it. But that's what that contract is for, and that's task order number 2. Task order number 1 is for the bridge that we closed in October, box or structure replacement. I presume it will be a box. We're actually performing the hydrology report on that right now. But, getting a contract set up for that as well, for that project. And I guess I was just seeking approval from the commission today so that we can keep this pedal to the metal on these things, I guess, moving forward. And both of these are with the budgets that we discussed. Ken and Marv and we've all discussed, I guess, several times over the course of the last 2 months or so, I'd say. If there's any questions, feel free to ask, let me know. I guess I'd just be seeking approval of those so we can keep things moving.
Will you have, task orders for the other 2 bridges, or did we already do those?
The other two, no, well, no.
Okay.
Since those were pretty much underway, we're operating under the previous agreement with those projects. My
Okay.
understanding of that, the one that Eric Ernest had with the county during his time.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, is there a motion to approve task order 1 and 2?
What's that?
I will move that we approve task order 1 and 2.
Motion by Marv, is there a second?
Yeah.
I'll second.
Second by Gene. Any discussion on the task orders?
On the bridge southeast of Hazen, is there any, state or federal funding for that?
That particular project, no. And that's the one we were looking at when we were talking about our budgets, shifting dollars from one project, maybe putting one on the back burner, the overlay project, and taking care of the bridge. But also considering ARPA funds and prairie dog money that we do have at our disposal, as well as county federal aid dollars that we have that are kind of in a bucket. I need to review, Marv did send me an updated spreadsheet that he asked me to look at. I need to take another look at it, but we see the funds there, we just need to appropriate them accordingly for the project.
Did you have, plans for that money that was just deposited in January?
Not Devin,
You're aware of that, are you not?
Which one was
It
that?
was, 200 and some thousand, like January 14th, and then January 26th, I think it was 1.1 million.
Oh, that's that,
That's any, and
That's
that
that federal.
can be used
1505.
yeah.
for, any county road and bridge projects. It
Yep.
was pretty
Yeah.
wide open.
That money's available too.
But I
That's
did
the
deposit
HB
it in
1505.
your-
yeah, do you know the total number?
It sounds like it was 1.1 million. you
No,
No.
1,452,933.96.
said? Okay.
Yep, and I deposited on your township road fund just so we can keep
There,
better
that's the
That was
next
that
one. Good job.
Biden bill, wasn't it?
just in case they come back wanting to know how we spent it, we will have our,
Yeah.
we'll keep it together.
What?
So, but they said you can just stick it in your county road fund, and it was like,
See,
willy-nilly
so
how
then-
you spend it.
Marv, that confirms what we talked about then, I guess. We were assuming that would be treated like local funds.
Correct?
And
Okay.
it's,
Shanna,
is that how it's being treated?
Sounds that way.
Okay, I don't know what treated like
I'll
local
have to check
funds
into
means.
it.
The way my email came through is that it could be spent on anything for county road
Yeah,
or bridge, so.
okay.
But
We'll
it
dive
is in
in
your
there.
township road fund, so
We'll
we'll just
figure
keep,
that out.
keep track of it.
Yeah.
Wayne's got a question.
What was basically the total on that?
1,452,933.96.
Okay, no,
That came from House Bill 1505.
okay, thank you.
And just for the board's information and Shanna, the table that Charlie referred to, this is one of the buckets. And we haven't allocated which project or how much of this would go to any of those. That's the process that we're working through.
Sure. So this is one of the buckets then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, any other discussion on the task order motion for 1 and 2? Any other discussion? Okay, Marv, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Jean?
Aye.
Wayne?
I'll vote aye.
I'll vote aye. That motion passes.
And thanks for volunteering that you deposited that in the township fund. That wasn't gonna be a question I had, so good job. Thank you.
So you'll just have him sign off on it when you get it changed at the office?
I can make it correct, so there would be, the approval from the commission is with the understanding that we will amend the agreements to update the county commission name within the contract.
Yeah.
Okay, any other,
Chairman name, sorry.
any other road stuff?
Yeah, so, some brief updates real quick here on, the bridge north of, Golden Valley. That one does have federal aid dollars tied to it, 80-20 split. We have that project on track. Right-of-way negotiations are pretty much buttoned up, or they're getting there. We've submitted everything with the state. Gene, thanks for stopping by, signing the papers. So we got that information submitted. They're still pushing for an April bid letting, but right now we're waiting on the state to provide us an update on the environmental. We did get SHPO response back in October. The state told us that they didn't have that for a few months, and then they realized in December they were wrong. So I'm not throwing the state under the bus. I'm just letting you guys know what happened. And so anyway,
We would not.
they're pushing to try to get that, so we have an April bid letting. However, there may be a possibility it gets bumped to May because of that. It was worth sharing anyway. I figured I'd let you guys know.
Sure.
And then we are waiting to, we're working with Wes Dickett for, what the heck is the name of the company? Geostabilization Services, I believe, or something. He's an engineer with that company. And he's been in talks with Brian Fuchs at the state regarding the bridge 17 miles south of Beulah.
Yep. Sour and
For a fix.
honors.
The one we have half closed right now. And he does have a plan in place, but he wants to, I kind of informed him that we need to work with the state on figuring out new load rating based on the proposed correction that he had. For the price, it seems like it's worth exploring because it'd be a significant cost saving to the county. It's just a matter of whether or not does this make sense? Is it a good fit? What would be the new load rating? Those are the things we need answered. So.
Okay.
It's kind of the gist of it, I think, for bridges.
So other than the bridge by Hazen, do we have any other roads or bridges that are closed right now in the county? Okay.
And we should know, I'll double check with Mike, with Interstate, Mike Destiny. We'll take a look at that Inspect X again and see where we're at on the bridge. Cause usually I think he said they update those by May, which at that time, we should be able to update the GIS map with all the bridges in the county for you that shows, here's the problem bridges and here's the ones that are in good condition. Maybe we could tie load ratings to each one for you so you know what they're at. I think it'd be a good tool for the county to have, so.
Would that be, something they could incorporate to load pass too? Or, cause don't they
Yeah,
have a
it's
GIS?
in there. That load path, it's in there.
Okay.
Yep,
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Say, I don't know why not.
yep.
Makes
Yeah, cause they
sense,
look
right?
at that too. It's all.
Oh, that's right, yeah, they said that, okay. All right, any other questions for Ken and Charlie?
Well, I have one, if we can get some help. I don't know if I'm sure you're aware of it, Ken, going out of 13 out of the Knife River, going up that big huge hill, we got a tremendous amount of washboards up in there. And then we have, past Kenny Reich up
Oh, on
on
12?
20, or, yeah. One thing we should, if we probably could do is, the coal mine runs their security guards out there. And he goes down and he turns around and comes back. I don't know how many times, maybe a day. But he's really beating that up. Now, they got the haul road and stuff. They got the gate there that they can come out on 13, go up and down the road a little bit and go on your haul road and go back to your land again. But that's what one of the neighbors said, he's really, just his route that he drives. But anyhow, I'm very concerned, because there's washboards completely across the road. If somebody has an emergency and they're going a little fast downhill, you ain't gonna hold it. You're gonna be in a ditch. So if we can try to, ruffle that out of there a little bit, because I've had several calls and it's pretty, I've been up there, it's steep, but
Next
they
week
claim
it's-
that it's, a part of this is the mine checking his,
Which mine, Dakota Westmoreland or Coyote Creek?
Coyote boys.
Okay, I'll give Brendan a call.
And they, if they could go up their haul road, there's a gate there by Voight's or up on top there, check whatever fence line or their transformers or what they check, and go back that direction, because you can just see where he turns around, and so if we can do something with that, we greatly appreciate it. Okay?
Okay, anything else for the road guys? All right, thanks. Next, we got,
Email that to you, Shannon.
next we got Jim and Candy.
Maybe have Ken wait a little bit if possible. I don't know what. Ken,
Ken, you wanna hold on a second?
just hold up a little bit till we get through this.
Morning.
Good morning.
I guess we're here today to discuss the dump truck that Candy and I have been using here. Candy uses it in the summer and I've been using it in the winter for hauling snow. We went to use it for the first time this last winter, and of course the thing isn't running properly. It takes ether to start it all the time, get it started, and we go and you can drive it for about a block, and when you go to slow down it dies. So I took it, called Dennis over at the shop, and we actually took it over there. We got it over there, and he come up with a fuel injection pump is either bad or something. So we contacted Butler, got some pricing on that, and to work on that, just a rough estimate from them is about $1,700. And that's without seeing the machine, of course, so. And then two, the clutch on this truck is also, it's about to the end of its life. I think how many times was it adjusted? 3 times?
Yeah, at least.
And they said the last time that was about the end of the adjustment, so. It's gonna need that to get it operational again, and just a rough quote from them, without seeing it, is another $3,200 to $3,300. And then we're gonna have to get it down there somehow. I talked to Dennis, and there's someone in Velo that could haul it down. He says usually when they have something hauled down, it's $500 to $750, 500 to. So we're looking at 5,000 to 6,000, hopefully, unless they find more.
And also these bids on there, it does not include freight handling charges, parts prices, increases, well, there's no taxes or additional services. And another thing with this truck, when we used it at the landfill, it never, very seldom even went into second gear, because we're just moving dirt from here to there. And the amount of oil and antifreeze that went through that machine was unbelievable, because you're not running it up and down the highway, or, you know, rodding it or anything. And then the other thing is the, cylinder that lifts the box or whatever, it's a 3-tier cylinder, it leaks bad. All 3 of them were shot. And that isn't included on this price. I mean, personally, I don't think this truck is worth putting money in.
What year's your truck, Kenny?
1985.
1985?
How many times a year do you need a truck, Jim?
Just in the winter, it's hard to say, you know.
For snow. He does snow.
I did it once so far this year. If there's no snow, I don't need it, but if we get a lot of snow, it's every other week.
How many
Who knows?
times a year do you need the,
Well, I need it summertime to haul dirt, and then to stockpile dirt for the winter. That has to be done right, like you wanna try to do it before, when it's done raining.
well, where I'm, because I have no idea how often you need a truck. I'm just trying to put in my mind how often you need a truck. Do we need to buy a truck that gets used 3 times a year?
Why
Or,
is it more than 3 times? Cause it takes all the pressure off of the loader. Otherwise, we're doing it a bucket at a time. We're taking it from the spoil piles in the back and we're bringing it way up and putting stockpiles like for the inert up front in the landfill on the south side there. And then we got a pile in the back, and then we have actually 3 different piles that we've been hauling.
well, this is more of a leading statement than anything. I'm just, because, where I'm going, if it's not a heavy use vehicle, doesn't the county have trucks that we could use to facilitate this? Or is it something where we need a truck on hand?
Well, it's all kind of on timing, whether they're available or not. I mean, I don't know.
There's
Okay.
another little snafu on that too, Gene, is that we're using county tax dollars for the roads and using that equipment and that labor for a proprietary fund. So I'm not sure if there's a hiccup on that or a restriction that we're using county money for a proprietary fund. Usually a proprietary fund and our general operating funds are kept completely separate. So whether,
One thing I did in the past was, like, if the trucks come over to haul, before they leave, they fuel on me.
Yeah,
They use my fuel
to fill them
to
up.
fill the trucks up when they leave.
Yeah.
What's the capacity of that truck?
It's,
Oh, you mean talk for dirt?
Yeah.
how many axles?
Like, I
it's
don't,
2-axle, it's like
Tandem
what,
truck?
yeah, it's just a
Third-
tandem.
at
15 ton.
the max, yeah. Well, kind of to, I don't know, fill a little history in here. This was a plow truck that Ruben used to drive for years and years. And we've put in 2 engines, plus they got the last one out of the wrecking shop. That's got a 3208 cat in there, which they call a 30, well, Gene probably knows, they call them a throwaway engine. But they did use them in a lot of versatile tractors and everything else. But anyhow, the transmission was rebuilt on there years back. So we're kind of sitting in a dilemma here. If we were going to get a truck, I think if we were, we would probably purchase one, your used ones that you have over there. I'm sure you got some that are maybe 300 and some thousand on them, but they're pretty good units yet. Does that sound right? Or, well, it'd have to be a tandem truck, yeah. Or, at the end of the day, we like you said, Gene, we don't use this thing that often. We unfortunately stick money into this thing and wait to see what else is gonna go out. But that's just the way any farmer rancher has to do it. That's just the options we have, so.
What's your recommendation to resolve this? Or do you have one?
Well, I think we should get an updated one. We don't need a brand new one. something that you don't have to work on. I mean, every time we went to use it, the air dryer we had to replace and just everything went wrong when you had time to be
It's a
doing stuff.
37-year-old truck.
Huh?
I said it's 37 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so have you guys priced other trucks?
I have been looking on the internet but you still, a person's gonna have to go look at these. You can't just buy it.
Absolutely,
look it up.
understandable. Yep.
But I seen one on Bismound this morning, and it's also an automatic, which I think a person should have an automatic, because you got drivers that aren't used to
Shifting.
running trucks and shifting, and that's really hard on the transmission.
Yeah.
And so I think an automatic, so that would be better for both of us. And, there was one on there, and it is a 2002, state truck. And it's a tandem, and it's got an automatic. I can't remember the hours on it, but they were asking 30,000 for that. And everything's working on it. 80% left on the tires, some rust, because of course it was used for salt and
Salt, yeah.
whatever. And, but that's just, just one. I mean, a person doesn't have to get this today, so you got time to look also.
Well, just,
And the state does have bids, or in the spring here, they do, have the state sale,
Yeah, there's only one available now. I had to call and look it up.
Oh,
They only have
okay.
one truck
They only got one truck.
at this time.
on your comment about the different departments there, Marvin, well, right now, we're talking about a county and the landfill the way it is, and they're sharing the truck. So I don't know how we differentiate those expenses. But I'm just having a problem getting a truck exclusive to haul one load of snow a year, but I know you need a truck. And like I ask you, how many loads of dirt, even 10, 20, 30 loads of dirt,
Oh, it's way more than that.
okay?
Way more.
And if it's only used a couple times a month, we're still talking here county and landfill, I don't know why we can't use a county truck. That's just, I don't know why we need to have one exclusive for one purpose. If it's not used, I feel it should be used a lot to,
Justify it.
justify buying a truck, put it that way.
I agree with Gene. The other thing that comes into play is convenience. You need the truck the day that you need the truck, when you have to bury stuff or whatever the case is. And the other part is, if Ken has his truck scheduled 3 days from now to go do something, and it's gonna take a 3-day project, and then you call and you need a truck, it kind of puts everything in kilter. So what I'm trying to say, and that's exaggeration, but I'm just trying to say that we have to convenience.
Yeah, and then see too with its weather. I mean, if it rains out and it's muddy, you're not doing nothing. It's gotta be,
But Gene's
you
got a
gotta,
valid point too.
it needs to be, something needs to be there in a way. So when it's available, or, conditions are right to be able to move it, type of deal. Not so much for him, but,
Yeah, like
Well,
my situation, I
but-
can work around things, I just pile it up to snow and
So,
But
then when I get enough.
I want to comment here too on, for instance, Jim's department here. We've got gripes, our building over here is a third, what,
we have to
At
pause.
least close the RFPs.
Okay.
The acceptance of them.
oh,
Yeah, let's just pause for a second. Let's close the acceptance of RFPs for the facility improvement and energy conservation analysis. If I can get a motion for that.
This is just to close them and not to
Just to
accept
close them,
anything,
yeah.
correct?
Yeah, we'll go back to the
Okay, I make a motion to close our RFPs for,
Okay, motion by Gene, is there a second?
I second.
Second by Marv. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. Gene?
aye.
Marv?
Aye.
Wayne?
aye.
I'll vote aye. So the acceptance of RFPs is now closed. We'll go back to Candy and Jim here.
Candy, can I ask a question? Can we revisit this? Can you do a little bit more homework on what it might cost to get a truck? And tell us a little bit more how much you use it? and revisit this so we have a little bit more information? So we wouldn't have to make a decision today whether we're gonna,
Well, no, I guess we're not even have to have a decision today, but it's kind of to bring it up. But
Yep.
another thing with like looking at vehicles or whatever and that, to go look at them, I don't know if a person can get them to hold them for 3-4 weeks. That's another issue, you know, I mean, it doesn't have to be decided today, but that's just a thing.
So we're not gonna fix it, is that off?
That's
the
what they
table,
wanted.
or-
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, I was gonna bring.
I wouldn't fix it myself, no.
Anyhow, I just want to bring up to the board here. I mean, we got $13 million facility over here. The deal is we have the sheriff and he's got prisoners. The ambulance has to come in here. So it's not a maybe deal over in, for Jim's part. If he, like he said, if he can clean it out with the skid steer, he surely will. But again, I want to enforce, we are Mercer County here. We aren't one contractor versus another contractor. And we need to kind of basically help each other out here. So just to keep in mind that we have a lot of key issues over here that have to be taken care of. If you have an emergency, they got to go. So it's not like we can wait 3 days and we got a prisoner here and the ambulance is caught in here.
But basically what I'm hearing is anybody, nobody is opposed to, I guess, we don't wanna fix the old truck, is what I'm trying to say?
I don't wanna fix the old truck.
So, we
No.
need to come up with a alternative method, so,
I'm not opposed to getting a truck, but I feel it's more, we get more bang for our buck. Basically, I'd like to see some coordination between the road department and you guys on using a truck. Cause I think the road department, I mean, they can use their trucks, and I can't believe that something can't be worked out.
And
I don't mean to, okay, I'll be the stick in the mud. You know, I don't think you need to have your dirt moved today. I think that could be coordinated. Dirt can be moved next week or the following week, and, you know, you
Yeah,
could
well,
work
the
something
biggest thing
out.
on me is stockpiling it in the last end of the year, and once that ground freezes up, and like this year,
Yeah.
it rained. I had it before we were basically done, we got a pile sitting in the back that we never got moved, and because of the weather, and
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 I-
I believe, I believe in talking with Ken the last time I borrowed the truck, I had it for 3 days, and I think Ken's concern is that if something goes wrong, who's gonna fix it then? You know,
Well,
I could see his concern too, you know, if we sit there and borrow something and then break something
and what,
and, you know,
You
I
work-
just don't wanna,
you work for the county, he works for the county, so it's a county expense no matter who fixes it.
yeah.
Who fixes it, so that one kinda irritates me when I hear that, because you're both, it's not like you're a separate company, a separate division, so, and you're not out to maliciously wreck a truck, and neither is Ken and his
No,
people
no.
out to you know, so things happen, life goes on, we gotta get over some of that.
One-
But I'm just saying, well, I'll just beat that to death. I
Wayne,
can't
go
see
ahead.
buying a truck
okay,
just a
one
second.
other thing just to keep in mind here. Like I said, I kinda asked Ken about how many hours or what he's got. If we're gonna buy a truck, I would advise us to buy something from that department and let him repurchase a new one and go that direction. Then we know what we're getting, okay?
And
Just
then-
an idea, just an idea.
and then with that, we could have a salvage value on the one that he did if we had to do any intercompany type stuff, but to kinda sum this up, don't fix the old truck, and then come to us with some options on whether you guys get a used one, or Ken gets something and you guys get his old one. Give us a few options, and I think we'll move forward with a different truck regardless.
Yeah.
Is what I'm gathering.
yeah, and you might be able to get money for that, you know, stuff off of that other truck, possibly. or even, or whatever.
It'll probably go into our
Well-
It
county
ain't gonna be
assets,
a
so.
lot or anything, but even.
Everything
even
you said, I
scrap
don't know
price.
I don't know what we could get money off. The
Well,
hoist, leaks, the
tires.
brakes.
Well,
Well, no, but I mean, well, even a scrap price on it, you
Yeah.
could get it rid of it. that
Say-
way.
We hear you.
Mr. Wolf, the past years, them old yellow bumblebees, they all went to DTE up there, and they refabbed them. They put them on a different truck, redid the hoist, and they all sold. So that's an entity you want to check with, is Dickinson Truck Equipment out of Dickinson. They have, you know, they got the salespeople that are looking for stuff like this, so. And they'll just stick
Yeah,
a
to
different truck
revamp or
under and.
redo 'em.
So would you mind doing a little research on salvage value? Keep looking at other trucks? Ken, I'll ask you a question. Are you willing to put together what you think would be a good option for them to purchase from your department? And then what it would be, how it would affect your budget to replace that, if you had to? So you guys work together and come back again, is that fair?
Sure,
I'm good with that.
I'm good with that. Said one piece.
We give you enough direction?
Are you confused enough? No.
All right,
Thanks.
thanks.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks.
RFPs on the facility improvement. I'm assuming we got one. Did we get more than one?
No, I just checked the email and didn't have anything else in there.
Okay.
At our December meeting, we asked to send some out and for a response time. Refresh me, what did we,
We sent out this RFP in December, and the response time was till 10:30 today,
Okay.
February 2nd.
and you never received anything,
I received one from Core Facility Solutions,
which was, okay,
and the one that I laid on your desk this morning is an updated one from what you reviewed in
December.
December.
Okay,
And conveniently, we're using space heaters in here today.
Yeah, Jim,
Plan that? Did you go break our furnace, so we had to sit in the cold?
I almost fell off the ceiling last night, shut it off.
yeah,
it was,
yeah,
okay, all right.
okay.
So. I guess. I'm trying to think,
What-
on an RFP, we're essentially, if we're gonna do it, we select the candidates from what we got for proposals.
Well, we can also reject the proposals we got. What was our, I'm sorry, but for official business here, what was the original RFP? How was it worded? Do you have that?
I do.
Could you read that for us, please? I guess it'd be a stinker, but fine.
It's not, it's good.
Mercer County Commission requests proposals to evaluate qualified providers for the development and implementation of facility and energy efficiency projects at the Mercer County Government Center on a guaranteed energy savings contract basis. This request for proposal will provide competitive means in which to select a provider to implement the improvements in accordance with North Dakota Century Code 480509 or 480513. Proposal shall be electronically received in the office of Shannon Gross, Mercer County Auditor, no later than 10:30 a.m. on February 2nd, 2022. And then I just said, for full details, contact me, and this RFP that came out of it.
Wow.
So,
Want to bring them to the table so we can,
Yeah, why don't you guys come up and if we got any questions.
page by page, we'll walk through and get some information here.
Okay, so this RFP is for basically 1.5 million.
yes.
So, really, I guess the RFP would be to select the provider. There wouldn't be any dollars per se tied to that. So, really, that would be all you'd have to select at this point in time. And then once you choose a provider, then you have the options of entering into a contract or not. You don't have to do anything. And then you can decide on what kind of project you like from there, if you do want to go further with it. So, does it,
Yeah, Mr.
Does that make
Chairman,
sense?
can I add to
But-
that? So if, I don't know if you guys recall, but when we did the courthouse expansion project, we had selected Contegrity Group to be our project manager. So then they got all of the, we decided what we wanted in our project. They got all of the bid packets ready, sent them out, and then those bid numbers came in astronomical. So then the board at that time rejected all bids, and we rebid it. And in the meantime, we kind of moved some things around and changed things and rebid it, and then it came in at a number that we were okay with. So I'm guessing that, in conversation with Chris, that this core facility solutions is like hiring our Contegrity Group. They're gonna manage the project. So when if we have them if we select them as the provider, then they're gonna go out and get bids for us, and it's still up to the board at that time whether they wanna reject or accept. And everything that's in his proposal, we're not stuck to going with. I mean, we don't
Correct.
have to do,
you can pick and choose whatever you want to
we
do.
just wanna do.
Just for clarification then, if are we accepting a bid, or are we accepting that core facility solutions be the general contractor, is my understanding?
Essentially, yeah,
Yeah.
with a guaranteed energy savings project. So we would have to guarantee the energy and operational savings. Now, you are not locked into going into any contract with selecting this RFP. You would just be selecting, hopefully us as the provider, since we were the only one to respond. But you do not have to do anything. You are not stuck with any fees or costs associated.
But we're
doing
stuck
any
with
of it.
1.5 million,
No,
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 no.
okay?
no, you're just, you are, if you want to enter into an energy conservation guaranteed savings contract, you'd be stuck with using us because we responded to that RFP. You can go back and re-advertise for a different RFP. It's just allowing us to give you put the project together, I guess is all that it says.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you a hard question.
Sure,
It appears hard, maybe it's because I can't talk.
that's okay.
But why do we need you? And now, let me
Sure.
paraphrase that. Why can't, if we have a lighting concern, change
Yeah.
things to LED, why do we have to have this contract? Why can't we just go out and put an RFP for someone to come in and give us an estimate on all the lighting?
Absolutely.
And we do that
Yeah,
individually.
You can do it individually,
So, I
that's your
guess-
choice.
What are we gaining by selecting you as a provider today?
Yeah, there's a couple of things that I see you're gaining, is we own it. We own the project. We're gonna own the whole package. We are gonna do all the management, the commissioning, make sure everything is right for you. We're also going to deal with any issues that your staff probably doesn't have the time to do. Does Jim wanna manage a project? Probably not. He's got enough on his plate. We're gonna handle all of that for you. We're gonna make it right, and then in the end, we're gonna guarantee the savings that we promised. So if we don't have those savings, we have to make it up to you. Write you a check for the difference, make it right, add equipment, whatever it might be to get to those savings.
Okay,
So
let me-
we're on the hook.
Okay, if we give I'm gonna go back to the lighting.
Yep.
I just pick a subject. We we select you as a provider, you give us some numbers for this
Yep,
lighting project, and we make a contract with you per that information.
sure.
Can you go subcontract and have another person come in and do the work?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
That's what they do.
That's what
my
they do.
We
understanding.
put it all together.
That's my understanding, that's
Yeah.
what they do.
That's what they
Yeah.
do.
They basically find the contractor.
We find
to
that
do.
we try to use your local
Okay.
contractors first. That's kind of the nice thing about a guaranteed energy savings contract, is you are not necessarily stuck with the low bid, but you're using a professional that has their money kind of on the line with this, making the energy savings. They then can pick and choose the contractors in your local area.
Okay,
So-
so if we choose you as our, I'm gonna
Yep.
use construction
Yeah,
words.
absolutely.
If we use you as our general contractor, can we choose not to have you do our lighting and just go hire someone else?
Absolutely.
Okay, and so I need
You
to.
pull that out of the project and have someone else do it?
Well, and I was
We can do
gonna-
whatever you want. This is just a list of items that we've put
Okay,
together.
Gene had a thought. What were you gonna
Sure.
say?
Oh, I'm almost paralleling what
Yeah.
Marvin's getting at.
Yeah.
We reject everything you bring to us. What do we owe you at the end of the day?
Nothing. Nothing. We didn't do our job presenting it to you, is the way I look at it. So if we did our job presenting it to you and showing the benefits of using us, great. Then we go into a contract, we get this done for you. If we didn't, that's our risk. That's on us.
So,
I-
can I say then, we are not okaying any financial obligation here?
Correct.
We're just okaying you to be the general, then you bring us and say, I don't wanna use any, Gene Wolf Heating
Sure.
to put in the heat system, and whatever they quoted you bring us a number,
Yep.
and then we okay it or reject it.
Exactly, yep. And I do have some solid numbers in this already that I've actually gone out and got numbers on, for example, doing the heating system, the boilers. So I do have a number on that. If you guys wanted to enter into a contract at the next board meeting, you couldn't do it today, because there has to be another public notice. Then we could write that contract up and guarantee the energy savings and go with it. But again, no financial ties to anything if you select us today.
I think Shanna summed it up kind of like, on a building project, it's like the architect. That kind of puts
Yeah.
everything together, coordinates
Yeah.
everything. These guys are facilitating what they identify and see that we need for needs and
For energy.
for energy.
Yeah.
And basically, part of the way we pay for these projects is through the savings that
Exactly.
efficiencies
Yeah.
happen. We all know that there's a unit up on the roof that needs to be replaced sooner or later. That's gonna be identified.
Yep.
We've talked about boilers, we've talked about various things. It's what is costing us money by not fixing it or updating it
Correct.
at this point.
Yep. In the response, I did identify about $2 million worth of repairs needed for this facility. I'm not saying you have to do 2 million. Maybe what's in your budget for a phase one might be, we'll just cut it in half, 1 million. Maybe you decide to take care of the most important needs now. We can do that, and then we can look at another phase down the road. I mean,
And
it's
then
all
we would-
customizable to what you want.
And then we would have the numbers for next year's budget
Exactly.
to incorporate.
Yep.
Because without
We'd have to
this, we're-
figure a little bit for inflation and everything
Right.
else, but, yeah.
but yeah, if it's $2 million worth of needs and some of it is immediate, we need to do it in the next 3 months. But some of it could be spread over the next 3 years, at least we
Yep.
can identify it.
We have quite a few clients right now that are, one did a $1.5 million project up front, then they're planning a $300,000 project in the next year, 200,000 after that. I mean, and we love to do it that way. I mean, let's take the most important needs now, and then let's defer what we can, and you guys can plan for it in your budgets without having to finance anything, and then take care of it as you can.
But essentially, the RFP gets us past we don't get 15 different people trying to get us different things. It's-
Exactly.
We go through you
Yep.
weed through all the quotes and the contracts and then present it with a recommendation. And
Exactly.
we either accept it or deny it.
Yep, yep. And then you still have a lot of decisions to make
Mhm.
after today.
And I'd just like to say, I've been through this process. If you don't know me, I was the superintendent at Center Stanton. And we went through this process 7 years ago, 8 years ago when I was the superintendent there. That's how I kind of, when I retired, got in with these guys. But to Marv's question there about lighting, and Chris doesn't always like to hear me say this, but if all you're going to do is lighting, don't hire him.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do that.
Yeah,
yourself.
exactly.
I just picked a subject, is all I
But
did.
if you want, but if you wanna do a project with 5 or 6 different things within that project. you
Boiler
know,
project, yeah, there you go.
You have somebody watching and making sure everything is being done, and that's not put on Jim. As a superintendent, I didn't want to be dealing with 5 different contractors, you know, the electrician and the lighting guy and the controls person that was there putting controls in, and we put in all new touchless, urinals and water faucets and everything within our project. I didn't want to be the manager of that.
Right.
And that's what's put on these guys. So if you're looking at doing one thing, yeah, don't hire him. It's not worth it. But if you're looking at,
Why'd you bring him?
Good job,
Fire,
Jim.
you know,
No, no,
but
he
if
said
you're
that more than
looking at-
once.
if
No,
you're
I-
looking at putting
yeah.
a project together.
Yeah, I
that-
understand.
That includes, more than one thing.
Yeah.
Then you have somebody overseeing everything for you.
Right, all the multiple.
So
pieces.
these numbers that are on here, they're just projected numbers, you haven't got actual bids
I
yet?
have gotten actual numbers for all of these. So if you look at the total cost in, kind of on the left side, it goes through the different options, talks about savings and deferred maintenance. There's some budget estimates, and then it says the total cost. Those would be the actual contractor numbers. Did have time to put that all together. So,
what page are you looking at?
I have,
It's kind of last,
This one.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it'd be like the second to last page.
Really?
In fact, here's what I'm gonna do, if I may approach and pass these out. I got some bit larger ones for you, so you don't have to try to look at those little ones.
Oh, old man,
how many you have?
very good. He looked over there and he says, yeah, we gotta do this
Like
different.
my brother said,
Yeah.
his
I have
arms
it for
are
everyone.
getting
Oh, okay.
bad, it's just his arms are getting short.
You want to back up, Travis? You want to keep, yeah.
Yeah.
Stop wiggling.
Stop wiggling, thank you. Now, these numbers I can read.
You're right, it's
Yeah.
a little easier, it's still a little small, but
No, it's not
I'm
bad.
not gonna lie, sometimes I have to put it up on my TV in my office so I can see it, but, now this would be working with 1.5 million. Now, is that what you wanna spend? Probably not, but I just wanted to give you an option. We talked earlier about if you put the whole project together, it would be about 2 million. We can change those X's on the left-hand side and play with those to fit with whatever budget you want. So, one thing that I would do is I'd actually ask Jim to help us define what are some of the most important needs that he sees day in and day out. You'll see that the rooftop unit replacement is not selected. Well, being in here, we've got space heaters in here. Jim was up on the roof today. Maybe that becomes one of the top priorities, and we get by with maybe not replacing the boilers yet. So there's definitely some work to do. I'll put it that way.
But I can say one thing, we can get by with this unit here being down, but when them boilers go down,
Yeah.
Well, right.
we're
Yeah.
in major trouble because that runs the jailhouse.
Yep.
facilities.
Jim and I talked about that a little bit, and with the temperature controls upgrades, he would know and get alerts up to his phone that something would be wrong, so he could get it taken care of. Jim, do you wanna, actually, I'll stand with you. How's that?
Or
Don't
be-
wanna make him stand alone. I'll go
Oh,
over
there's
here.
another mic over here, just,
So, let you guys look at that, I know most of it, so.
But yeah, I can see where some stuff we'd wanna do first versus other versus age of equipment, things like that, you know, that's kinda what I'm looking at. And
Right.
Controls are a big thing. You know, like we talked about in the jail cells and stuff, it happens almost daily where, you know, you try to adjust, I did it yesterday, adjusted the cell was way too hot. Well, I turned it down a little bit and now it's way too cold, they had to move prisoners around, they gotta shuffle. It's just hard to control that old.
And it was like one click, probably.
Well, yeah, it's a guess almost, you know?
Well, all the controls over there are pneumatically
Pneumatic,
controlled,
And it's,
and
They don't do that anymore?
yeah, well, they
don't.
inherently go out of calibration as soon as you calibrate them. I've worked on pneumatics for years, and a lot of times I've gone back to a pneumatic thermostat that I just calibrated, and 10 minutes later, it's out of whack again. It's just, they can fill up with moisture, oil from the air compressor,
yeah.
just like like anything else, and then they just get out of whack, so.
And you got hundreds of little airlines and one comes off or one breaks, you don't know about it, it leaks.
Pinhole
and
leak, yeah.
it
Or your
just-
compressor goes
and
down.
these have been in here
Right.
for,
Yeah.
well, since the eighties, you know, and the VEV boxes are worn out, they're all air controlled with a damper in there and it just, that's a lot of the big problems too, you know.
So Jim, what would you say would be a must-do on this budget sheet?
No, I would say this building would be the first one
But on the
because,
budget- Like on the budget sheet?
On
so
that
we can-
sheet, there.
So we can put it together, numbers.
I think very much those will be answered.
I would say the temperature controls. The boilers, we could probably, you know, the one is, you can still work on them, so
Which one's, what's it, a boiler calling?
that's the.
That would be number
the
one,
first one.
CFS one.
The cooling, that, you know, we have one newer chiller and one old chiller. The one's original, you know, that we could probably get by with too for a while. Temperature control we should do, basement, hallway, air handling unit, that we could get by with. Replacing the units in the basement, we could probably get by with refurbishing them to save some money. Rooftop units, that needs to be done because they're 26 years old and those life expectancy on them are average 15 years, so we're way over that. VAVs, that needs to be done. That's almost a must. A reheat for the air handler for the old part of the jail, that would be kind of a good thing to have to try to temper the air. Right now it doesn't. And lighting, I would say that if we do any lighting, that would be an absolute thing, would be in the jail cells to get those up to.
Okay,
And
the
that would be
state
five
standard.
C.
so you numbered 1, 4, D, E, and F. Of those, which one is the top priority?
Which one?
You just listed as, probably we should do as number 1.
Well, no,
number-
that's the boilers.
Number three.
Number three would be the first one.
That's the very main top priority?
Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
And with that, you'd have to do 4E.
4E.
They kind of go
4E,
together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You can't really do one without the other.
and 4D is a must. Da-da-da. And 4F would
I'm trying to
be
work it up
good.
if I can get in on my computer here.
And 5C
I'll tell you
probably.
what it would be.
You know, 5C, that's another one that we wouldn't have to do.
Okay, I'm looking at your spreadsheet here, sir. And I apologize, I forgot your first name.
Chris?
Can I call you Chris?
Yeah, absolutely.
Chris. Okay, well, some guys like a Mr. title, so.
No, that's okay.
Well, thank you, Chris.
I'm pretty informal.
When I'm looking at the right-hand side, and this is looking at all the projects, because
Yep.
it's 1.3 million, basically. Our overhead is what? You tell me, I see some numbers there, but.
Yep.
What is our
Yep,
overhead?
I'm gonna go down the right-hand side. So, project management, we have project management costs in there. We have some engineering, some project development. So that's doing all of the research and doing all of the, putting the project together, so to speak. That's, again, how we get paid to do what we've done, only if you decide to do a contract. We do have commissioning in there, so we go through, make sure every wire is connected, make sure everything that works the way it should. So we're not dealing with warranty issues after the project is done. So we're not saying 2 years from now, the warranty's up, oh, we found this. No, we run everything through its paces, make sure all the i's are dotted and t's are crossed. Because this would be a guaranteed energy savings project, we do have to put something in there for development of the guaranteed energy savings. We go down just different reimbursables, costs of doing construction, temporary fences, partitions, communication, staging, anything that we would need there, or periodic cleanup is on the next one. So if we need to have a cleaning company come in because we're working in here and the ceiling tiles made a mess, we take care of that for you. Software, we have some money in for doing some of the software programs that we purchase. We use a software called CX Alloy that helps us with the commissioning, gives us all punch lists, gives you guys an idea of exactly what we went through and checked out when we're done, kind of like a balancing report, Jim,
Yeah.
like you had that done before.
We did that with Integrity Group. It was
Yeah,
with the progress of the project.
yeah, yeah. Then we go down and you'll see that line overhead and profit margin. That's what we make in actually, paying for everything that goes to run the business. That's our fees essentially. Now that would be on the bigger project. And I do have something in there for bonding, permits, fees that we need. I've got money in there for that. But I also have a contingency fund in there. And I put 10,000 in there, and that we run as kind of like your checkbook, so to say, but you have the say in what that gets spent on. So if we have an electrician putting in lights and you need a couple extra outlets in another area, we have that money kind of reserved or set aside for you guys to say, while the electrician is here, can you have him add this outlet? We don't get charged trip charges or anything like that. Then we write a contingency use form. You guys would sign off on it. We sign off on it. It comes out of that fund. Now, whatever we don't use at the end of the project, that comes back to you. So that's nothing we get if you spend it, and nothing you get it all back if you don't spend it. So
Okay, I'm gonna ask a question. These overhead costs, are they
Yep.
are they prorated on a percentage basis per the contract that's awarded? or-
Yeah.
Is that
Yep.
correct? Did I
Yep.
say that correct?
yeah, yep,
Okay, so per the contracts that we would choose at any given year, we would have some percentage, we wouldn't have, what I want to say is that prorated, that percentage fixed? Or do you want 40% up front and the rest gets prorated out, or is it?
No, well, we do, let me see if I can answer this correctly. We do all our projects based on completion. So as everything's done, we add, all these costs to it. So if you don't pay this all up front.
Mhm.
Is that kind of what you're asking?
That's part of it.
Yep,
The other part
yep.
is it weighted where we pay more for the initial projects and less for the final projects?
No,
So that you get
no.
more of your overhead?
No, it would all be a percentage that we agree upon. So, but everything that we do, all your billing, will be as completed. So we, as monthly, we'll say X amount was completed, you agree to that, and then you pay us accordingly, or you're invoiced accordingly.
I have a couple of questions.
Yep.
Under the basement mechanical room air handling unit refurbishment, there's
Yep.
no pricing under there.
So if I get you a new one that's selected, it'll have that in there. So it just kind of whatever's selected, that'll show up. I'm trying to open my file, but it does not want to do that.
Because I would just have a question on the pricing for that, the rooftop unit replacement, and then the lighting for just the.
Sure. Let me see if I can get to this.
Which, none of this is pertinent to
Right.
Right. We're kind of jumping a little bit ahead, but that's okay.
It's kind of one of those things, we know we have issues, how do we want to fix them?
Right.
And that's what they're gonna help us facilitate.
It-
Identify, bring contracts, estimates together. This is who we recommend, may not be the lowest bid.
Exactly.
Might be the local bid,
Right.
But using this format, using the RFP process, we've done the public notification. We can continue with these projects as they come forward without having to do our own soliciting and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, you're right on.
Select today, or do we wanna table it?
Well, I mean, in my opinion, we did the RFP to see who was willing and able, and they're the only ones that submitted, so, I don't know if there's another option, because nobody else,
The option is, we do have one. The
Yeah.
other option is
Do it ourselves.
do it ourselves.
right?
And you can still go down that road even if we're selected. There's no commitments by selecting us, so it's just kind of a formality.
No.
But you can still go down whatever road you want.
No fees exchange hands unless we agree to a contract on any one of these
Exactly.
items.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions on the RFP process? I mean, it's not typically what we do, because we're used to like roads and different things where
Right.
we have bids and these are the hard numbers, but, I
Yeah,
don't
this
know
is-
if any of us is this in our, realm of, specialties or expertise?
Yeah, it's a little bit different. I'm used to.
It is.
An RFP, we have a number. Here, we're not agreeing to a number, we're just agreeing to have you
Identify-
acquire
As a
numbers
provider.
for us.
Yep, yep. And,
Charges for them.
and if you don't like how things get put together, we're not tied to anything for you. So you still get the final say.
I would say it this way, basically, yes, you're accepting core facilities to work with any numbers within this sheet. And whatever you ask for, Chris will bring you back numbers on it, and you work how you want. It's kinda like a menu. You get to pick and choose what you want on here. You can delete one, add one, however you want to do it. And basically what you're agreeing to is that as of right now, core facility would be the only company you would work with on this sheet. At the end, you don't like anything on this sheet, you can say, thanks Core for your help, we're gonna go a different direction.
I guess I misunderstood that. Originally, I thought we could still, even though we selected you guys to do this, that we could still choose one of the items and we could go submit
You
our
can.
own bids.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
yep.
You can do that, what I'm saying is basically you're not going to take this to another company
Right.
and share it and say, can you guys come back and give us a quote on all of this?
Understandable.
And do a guaranteed
I mean,
energy
yes,
savings contract
You
with
could still
them.
go and make one person do the lighting, and that's what I would do, because there'd be one thing.
Well, I mean, Jim just identified several on this list that are the immediate need,
Right.
and the other ones identified, and that's kind of why I said we might do the immediate, and then now we can budget for
The rest.
this, and this. At a previous job, I was in a similar position as Jim, and it was, if you left and weren't at work, you'd get a phone call, hey, it's too hot over here. And you'd be like, okay, go into the mechanical room, tell me what this gauge says. Tell me what this gauge says. Okay, turn this, one turn to the left. Okay, what happened? Okay, turn that back. You know, I mean,
Right. Oh, yeah.
And that's how a pneumatic system operates, because anything that goes down,
Yep.
it's,
Yep.
you start moving things by hand. And when we switched to the electronics, it was, oh, I just gotta click this, clear it,
Yeah,
or,
Yes,
hey, guys, this is not working, can you dial in, and they're like, oh, yeah, this is out,
Yeah.
I got it fixed for you.
Yeah.
Parts are on order.
Well, it's not
That was
on-
the big one we went at center, at the school, was
yeah.
going away from the pneumatics to the digital.
They were state-of-the-art in the seventies and early eighties, and,
And if you have a problem, you just call them and they could go on the computer and see
Yeah.
if they could find the
See if
problem
they can
right
find
there,
it.
rather than have to send a tech out.
yeah.
Hey, Travis, I have a question for you.
Mhm,
This is unfamiliar to me, okay?
mhm.
I'm used to doing everyone individually. I understand the concept of a general contractor and all the information. Do you have experience doing this type of a method? And if so, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, so when I was talking about a previous job I had when I was at the mine, it was something similar to this. We knew our air exchanger was bad, we knew, the dampeners needed to be replaced. And it was, how do you tie that all in? Because, one contractor did this, but they didn't do the other thing. Another contractor did this. It was so much easier just to have somebody like Core Facilities do all those calls, get all those things, they brought the numbers together, then I could submit it, to upper management, and they either said, yeah, that's in your budget, or no, it's not. Or let's do this and then put this into next year's budget. At least we had numbers. Otherwise, it was, you were getting quotes and you didn't know if this, this was gonna work with this, you know, type thing.
Exactly.
That's what I'm kinda understanding is, so we go get an electrical contractor to redo electrical, and then we have a separate contractor to do the HVAC. And then the HVAC guy says, well, you didn't tell me, and the electrical guy says, well, I didn't know that,
So we got the
but
wrong
you're,
voltage.
if we hire you, we're gonna rely on you to coordinate that and take care of it, so that we don't
Absolutely.
have to sit here and say, well, oh gosh, did we miss something, or we
Right.
can throw that at you and say, you missed it.
Exactly. Well, I mean, we handle it all. We put it all together. Yeah, if there's something we didn't do, well, we'll take care of it. And then, you know, once we have a contract together, we have that contracted scope of work. If there's something we missed, it's on us. We don't do a change order at that point.
I didn't mean to pick on you
But
that
no,
way.
that's
I'm
okay.
just-
That's okay, because it's the truth, though. And I can take it.
And
So-
something like this, so our main source of heating, is propane.
Right.
Let's say 3 years from now, we got natural gas in the
Right.
county, which we're hoping for.
Yep,
We do a changeover, or, and
Yep.
it's, could be relatively easy. But if we've increased efficiencies on one heating source, and then a more economical heating source comes on, then we just double down on our efficiency
Exactly.
savings and
Yep.
cost savings,
yep.
so.
And I think Chris has touched on this, but as he just mentioned, when you sign a contract for a price, that price will never change, even if they made the mistake. I like to use one that we had in school, that Chris missed a tank that was covered in asbestos. And that tank had to be removed in order to put in the new system. Well, they called the asbestos guy, came in, that's $3,000. Didn't go to the school and say, it's gonna be $3,000 more just because we mistaken this tank out. That came out of Chris's salary. But no, that.
Pretty close.
But things like that, so if there's things that have been missed, it's on core facility. The
Yep.
price you sign for is the price it'll be.
So if there's a lighting grant, for instance. you
We help
guys would-
find those. Yep,
You help find those?
we write it for you.
Write it, okay.
Yep, so, right now, the grant that I know of is the Energy Conservation Grant from the state. We put all the data together, you just have to have someone sign it and send it in,
Yeah.
so,
So you also help bring capital to it
absolutely.
with the grants and stuff?
Right, yep. If there's anything else out there, if we find it, maybe some paperwork on your end, but we'll help you along the way, so. I think we were able to get one school almost 400,000 this year, and just federal grants, addition to COVID money,
Okay.
so.
Okay, if we approve this today, can we put is this for 12 months, 14 months, what are we looking?
You can do whatever you want, you can
Okay.
leave it open, you can put 2 months, it's totally in your
Okay, thank you.
ball.
Well, it's still gotta fall under reasonable expectation.
Right, well, right, exactly, I'm just,
Right, these prices you see probably won't be there in 12 months.
right,
Right.
right. I would say if we're gonna, this would be stuff for summer construction, so these would all be held for probably the next couple of months.
I didn't want to shock you, but the ship won't even leave China in 12 months.
Well, I know. The one thing that I would recommend is if we are approved, I don't know who holds the facility portfolio.
I do.
All right. Well, I would recommend that maybe Wayne and Jim and I maybe kind of come to kind of some ideas.
Right.
What do we want to see with maybe what's available? And then bring that at the next meeting to everyone else to see what everyone else thinks.
I'm just gonna
That
go-
would be my suggestion.
Just going backwards a little bit here. For instance, I asked about contracts, and you said you already have them, but, heating system, number one, their heating system replacement, who would, on this sheet, you don't have who the contractor
I don't
is.
have it listed with that. I think I reached out to City Air Mechanical.
Well, you don't have to tell us now, because I think your
That's okay.
understanding is part of if we accept you.
Right.
But when you do, you're gonna tell us
Absolutely.
who,
Yep.
who you're having,
Who we're using. Yep.
and then we can I'll use my name again.
You-
And then we can say, did
XYZ
you ask
Electric, yeah.
Gene Wolf Heating if you got a bid from Gene Wolf Heating?
Yep,
I don't do heating, so don't.
that's okay. We'll work with your contractors. I used
Okay.
ones that I know and trust now, but if there's someone else out there you guys want me to use, I can send it
Okay.
to them
So we
and
can,
give them the opportunity as well. So,
Mr. Chairman?
I didn't want to throw
Go
anyone
ahead,
else
Mark.
under the bus, that's why I used my own.
no,
name.
that's
To,
fine.
To wrap our arms around this conversation and discussion, I'd like to make a motion. And I move to accept facility improvement and energy conservation analysis to oversee the
Core facility.
core facility.
Yep.
This is okay,
Anyway,
Well, that's the project.
yep. To oversee the improvements of our courthouse for the year 2022.
okay. Motion by Marv to accept core facilities for the fiscal year 2022. Is there a second?
Second that, Mr. Chairman.
Second by Wayne. Any further discussion on accepting core facilities?
Oh, we've had so much. This is different than what
It is,
I've never hired a general. I've hired a lot of contractors,
sure.
but not a general. I always was the general.
Well,
Then it got messy.
with no financial obligation.
Yep.
Basically, that's what we're doing.
Right, right.
Right, nice way to go.
We do it a little
Except for we
different.
can't hire someone else to do the same thing you did.
Correct.
Exactly.
That's our only obligation.
On a guaranteed energy savings contract, yes.
I see they're breaking down the walls.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Seeing no further discussion, Marv,
Aye.
Wayne,
I'll vote aye.
Gene?
I'll vote aye.
I'll vote aye. That motion passes. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Jeez.
And we'll look forward to what you're bringing up next.
All right, sounds good.
I feel sorry for you because you get to work with Jim and I, so. it's
I
gonna-
get to work with this guy.
It's gonna be a rough day.
Are we sending out, what was the next step in
So-
this process?
So the next step in the process for an official notice would be, before you would take action at any meeting, you do have to give official notice in your publication, your normal publication. So I will send that to you. Oh, I did send that, that's right.
But I was just wondering when what did it say again?
There was no length of time. So I would say maybe a week before, that you may or may not enter into a contract. So every time that this would come up at a meeting, you'd have to advertise the week before or whatever it works. So, but there's no mandate as far as 2 weeks or anything like that.
But if we knew something that was coming,
Yeah,
the meeting before, we could say we're gonna advertise.
exactly. And it's just to give the public opportunity to speak. And rightfully so, it's their tax dollars, right? So,
So it's only if we're entering into a contract, so when do we next wanna discuss this? Because
Next meeting.
I would, my timeline is, if we're gonna discuss it at the next meeting, I have to have it to the paper by Friday this week.
What do you have to have there?
My suggestion on that would be that you could still have discussion on it as long as no motion is made to accept it. And since you meet every 2 weeks, you could say that at that meeting, that where you're at the next meeting, we will make a decision on which way we want to.
could do that too.
So you don't have to put it in every time that you're gonna discuss it. It only has to be in there, and I think it is 7 days before.
Before we make any formal motion.
Before you make a
Before, yep.
formal motion to enter into a contract.
I have a question for the board. The reason I said next meeting, and I'm asking you guys now, in my mind, we want to have a listing of what we absolutely want to do for the year 2022.
Exactly.
Not a wish list, what we absolutely necessary that we accomplish.
So, do we
That's all I
want Chris
want.
to give us some harder numbers on the list that Jim just gave us and discuss it next meeting and then possibly enter into a contract 2 weeks after that?
Yes.
I think that's good.
Okay.
I
Yep.
like-
So we'll do that. So
Gives it a little break, time for everyone to digest
Yeah.
everything, and then take your time.
Yeah, I think Chris and Jim and Wayne get together
Yep.
and then come to the meeting and say, this is what we need to do first.
Here's our priorities and here's what we need to accomplish.
And then whether we rubber stamp that priority list or not, but then we go down that list
If you
and
want, or
award
next
bids,
week, whatever works.
so to speak.
Exactly.
So we're still gonna, so the, let's say the control system is the first item that you guys are gonna recommend replacing, and you tell us that, and then you get bids for that or whatever, we have to put that out
Nope,
for bids?
Nope.
No, okay,
No, we just
You've
notify
done
that
that
we're gonna
process.
we're gonna make a decision on a contract for whatever.
That way, if there's any public interest, they can.
Okay.
speak
Yep.
up for or against it.
okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thanks, guys.
okay.
I think we're there.
All right, thank you.
Good thing you showed up.
Well, it's my pleasure, so. I know this gets a little confusing at times, but it's all written in Century Code. It's a good way for public entities to do stuff, and sometimes when they don't have the money, because then there's a way to finance things, that's all tied to that, but we don't need to in this situation, but yeah, it's a good way for you to get some stuff done, and we handle it all.
Bring your proposals in grandpa paper. Okay?
From now on, I'll have the big ones.
Thank you.
So, yep, so, well, thank you.
Thanks.
Guys.
Thank you, Chris.
The only thing I see we still have on the agenda is the tax and financial software procurement.
Yes. And I asked that to be put on there, and I'm gonna hand you guys some sheets here. You can give one of these to Dan. Geez, I even have enough. But prior to my discussion, on this here, I would like Shanna to update me, the board, I apologize, where we at with acquiring tax and financial software.
We have not made any moves at this point. We've had a small discussion, between Don and Darby and Cindy and the gals in my office of kind of which softwares, which I can't even tell you off the top of my head right now, 'cause our discussion was a while ago. But what we would kind of like to go look at different counties, and we'd like to just, plan a date and just go check out other counties to see what they use and, their pros and their cons on it, and just kind of look at it and see if it's something that we wanna go with. But at this point, we haven't set a date for that quite yet.
Okay, then, thank you. I wanted to share some stuff with board members. And this is Marv's thought process walking through this, okay? Doesn't mean it's correct. I've done quite a bit of visiting with, actually I sent a letter to several auditors, county auditors, asking what they have and if they like it or not. So I have some research in that area. And I have worked with Tyler Tech on learning on what it takes to get tax and financial software in a county. And I've also called other counties regarding what it took to get tax and financial software. So what I was looking for was a number that I could provide the board about what it's going to cost us and about how long it's going to take. That's why I was doing my research. Okay, number one, we received a material finding in our audit for 2019 and 2020 with the goal that our auditor provided them that we would have that hopefully in place in 2023. Actually, it was January of 2023. The remedy to fix this finding that we received, and we spent a lot of money for it, can take over a year. So we're in February now, and I'll walk through some of these timelines a little bit. We're not going to get it done in January. What I'm looking for, where I'm headed to with all this, is a commitment by our board to begin some type of action to get this off of dead center. And in a planned way that we all understand, these are the steps that need to be acquired or that need to be accomplished. Typically, when we go out for a service, a piece of equipment, we go out for bids. And I have with me a copy of an RFP that I believe it came from Burleigh County when they suggested that And the reason that I like that is because if we don't have specifications of what we want, we get something. And every company gives us something. So I believe that we should send out an RFP to the prospective vendors. Now, these vendors are chosen by the 3 offices that are going to mostly use this service. We would interview those candidates and possibly choose a vendor. Choosing this vendor, this whole process of going out for RFPs, getting bids back, and choosing one, that can take 3 months. That gets us March, April, and May. We're already at the end of May. Okay? Implementation, like I said, can take over a year. And I think we need to get this thing moving forward. The company that I've been researching information actually sent me an approximate estimate. And the reason that they did that, I wasn't going out for RFP. I said, I'm looking for what can I present to our board so they can understand how long this process can take and what it might cost us. And part of the reason I asked that question is because I threw out a number before of 500,000. And I had no clue how close I was. I thought I was high. I was really high. Okay. So it can take, and I talked to Sioux County, I think was the latest company that implemented it. I can't remember the lady's name down there, but I have it at home. And it took, I think they're still doing it. It can take a year to do that. So that's pretty much all I have regarding getting this off of dead center. I did submit to the board a couple of meetings ago what we could be a plan to get this off dead center. Now, another reason I have to tell you that why I do have a list of all the softwares that all the different counties are using throughout the state. And I can tell you that Tyler Tech has 13, Software Innovations has 12, Government Software has, GovernSoft has 12, Dakota Programs has 5, and CPT has 8. That was the latest time when I pulled that up, and that was right at the end. That was November of 21.
And I think Dakota Programs is going away, if I remember correctly.
Right. And CPT, this is Marv's opinion, is barely an upgrade from what we have. They don't have any, it's not Windows-based. I think we need to get modern and at the very least have Windows-based programs. Okay, so anyways, that's my deal on our financial software. I think we need to get off dead center. Now, to that effect, for discussion, I'm going to make a motion. And I'll give Shanna a copy of this because it's too darn wordy for her to have to, for me to expect her to do that. It's not fair. I move that Mercer County draft an RFP for financial and tax software and submit it to potential vendors by March 16, 2022, requiring a 30-day response to remedy the main finding number 2020-1 from our 2019-2020 audit, which is stated in the November 8th, 2021 letter from our county auditor to our state auditor. And I didn't bring that with me. I had it all highlighted and forgot to bring it, but all it said is this is our finding. All they can do is make a recommendation. They can't tell us what to do. The response was that we hope to have this remedied by January of 2023. So my motion is what I just read.
Okay, motion by Marv to proceed with the drafting on a RFP to be due for the March 16th meeting. Is there a second? Is there a second?
I'm asking for a second so I can have some discussion. You do not have to.
I'll ask one more time. Is there a second? Okay, seeing no second, that motion fails. Anything else for this meeting?
Yeah, I'd like to, if I may add one more thing, board members. In the past, and it's in the letter that I sent you, we moved forward without, to the best of my knowledge, a real good plan in writing. And it cost our taxpayers over $300,000, and we never received anything. I do not want to go down that same road. Thank you.
Okay. Any other business? Seeing none, meeting adjourned.
Thank you for your time and patience, guys.
Gene, you said you're gonna be gone at the next meeting?
Yes, I won't be here.
I'm gonna